Welcome to Potato-related issues first, and let's face it, probably last Halloween special. I'm not sure what's spookier, the amount of audio issues we had this week, or the fact that I'm releasing this a week after Halloween actually happened. People on my street already have their Christmas decorations up, like, it's nuts. We'll be talking about the Celtic origins of a lot of modern Halloween traditions, and we'll just be having some banter, talking about our favourite Halloween stories. If you want to leave a question, give us some feedback or suggestions for future episodes, you can email us at potatorelatedissues@gmail.com. You can send us a tweet at potatoissuespod on Twitter, and you can also check out our Instagram account, potatorelatedissues. My name is Cillian Doyle, and this week I'm joined by Seamus Dwyer, Alna Deneen, and Luke Barr. And now on with the show.
My goal is to have a quiet Monday night and to get no calls.
This isn't a quiet Monday night. Look at this shit with the music and the phones.
You shut up, you bitch. Alright.
Are we live?
Am I way too loud?
We are live.
No, we checked it earlier.
Yeah, we calibrated it to your voice by screaming as loud as we could directly into the microphone.
So
We did
rude.
the best of all the impressions.
So we'll get into this real quick.
If we have to.
Yeah, we do, unfortunately. We're under obligation.
I'm sick.
That only took 20 minutes. I was kind of expecting it would take another hour and a half to finish that one off. So I've written very little about Halloween.
Oh, you actually are moving on to Halloween.
Yeah, this is the Halloween
I
special.
thought we were actually just
Should we have shit to say about Halloween?
Nice.
Talk about our Halloween story.
This
I
is-
love Halloween.
this is
Yeah,
very
let's
short.
do it. I'm way more excited now. I thought we were
Okay,
doing
cool.
a dumb tunnel story.
All right.
Yay!
Hey, welcome
Can I
to
have another
the...
beer?
Yeah, do you want
This
one?
is way better. I'm so excited.
Stop being so rude to Cillian.
Why?
Because he's written loads of good notes and you're just dissing him.
That's a good note.
Why am I dissing him? I'm really excited.
You're dissing his tunnel
What
notes.
do you want? Do you want my Heinekens?
Oh, what beer is there in your fridge?
Canadian.
Of course. No.
Oh, Canadian. Of course, is good.
Of course. What the fuck?
Don't worry about it.
It's sticky. What do you mean don't worry about it? It's sticky.
Don't worry about it.
Look, the boy's allowed to have a good time with his beer can.
Can you pass me over a tea towel? But no, I am excited about the Halloween. I wasn't dissing this tunnel story. I was just more excited for Halloween. That's when my birthday is. Oh, we can talk about our favorite Halloween movie.
Ooh, favourite Halloween
I can talk
movie.
about Sheena the Gwig. I actually did a lot of research on it
You
today.
can tell ghost stories.
Favourite Halloween
I
movies?
love ghost stories. Nightmare Before Christmas. It's the best
Nightmare
one.
Before Christmas is very good. There are other very good Halloween films, but I've completely forgotten what they are.
Halloween Town.
What one's that about?
They get stuck in Halloween Town and it turns out she's a witch. What about The Little Vampire? That was a good one.
Little vampire.
And what about Hotel Transylvania? That movie is great. Hi, welcome back to The Lads.
That's the Dossers. All right.
Hi, welcome back to The Dossers. I'm Alna.
Welcome back to this is the Lukey B podcast. I'm Lukey B. I'm joined by my guest today, Seamus. If you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Seamus.
Can I?
And
Can you cut that and send that to me?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, welcome back to Black and Cans. My name is Mickey Casey, and today I'm joined by my guests.
This is you sound like a pedophile.
Well, I mean, actually, it's already been ruined because Alna's got the Darth Vader sound effect on for this entire episode.
No.
No!
Alright, guys. Welcome back. Today we're talking about Halloween. It's the yearly festival. Happens on the 31st of October. We celebrate the
Yearly?
spooks, the goose.
Would you say that it's the spookiest holiday?
No, I'm terrified of Easter.
I was just going to say the Easter Bunny.
Thanksgiving's
pretty
kind of
scary.
spooky.
We don't really do Easter over here. The Yanks are mad for it, though.
Hey?
Yeah, they do like the Easter egg
Easter
hunts
is
and they dress up
a
as Easter
Celtic
bunnies.
holiday.
Is it really?
Bealtaine.
I
way.
would have thought that Ireland would be like the biggest place for Easter in the whole world.
Yeah, because it was like it's the first day of spring and like Easter and all that shit. But like it's all to do with like rebirth and stuff. And then Easter, obviously, because the whole Catholic thing kind of took it over. But yeah, it's there's like a Norse goddess as well. I can't remember what she's called, but she's like Easter.
Well, the scary thing about Easter is this big bunny coming into your room and stealing your teeth.
That's the Tooth Fairy.
He's sorry. Like,
Your notes.
The bunny comes in and steals. There you are.
Wait, guys, does that not happen at Easter for you?
I think it's more the bunny comes in and feeds you chocolate and rots your teeth.
No,
Makes you obese and
I've woken up on
diabetes.
numerous Easter Sundays with a man in a bunny suit with pliers and whipping them.
No.
Well, every year.
Kind of puts a dampener on the whole event, really, doesn't it?
So, yeah, Halloween. That's, apparently, according to this,
According to this shit.
marks the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter. So everyone celebrates, so don't get the fucking depressed as fuck.
Yeah.
Because it's the start of winter and everyone's gonna be shit and you're probably gonna die because you're a fucking pagan farmer.
Because it's dark and you might fall down a well.
Yeah, exactly.
The Celtic day began at midnight instead of dawn, kind of thing. So, like,
Right.
that's where they mark the beginning of a new day, and likewise they mark the beginning of a new year at the end of.
What's the craziest thing you've ever dressed up for Halloween?
Oh, for God's sake!
Seamus?
Oh. Ooh.
I hear one time we went to a party dressed like a farmer and had raw potatoes and was eating raw
Ew.
potatoes.
Oh, it
That
was
is
so
true.
funny.
Actually, I've got a picture. I'm gonna get that up.
That's gross.
It was a really good farmer outfit.
I went as a
In
witch
fairness.
that year.
Did you
Actually,
eat the whole potato?
Yes, I was really hungry.
I shaved my beard and dressed as a witch and put on like eyeliner and stuff.
Oh, that was actually some of the best costumes we've ever seen.
Yeah, that was a
from
great
Yeah,
us.
you were really hot.
I was. Everyone kept telling me I was really sexy, and I
Oh, wow.
was.
Nice.
What about you,
I
Luke?
still do it at weekends. I go down to.
Luke
the
wasn't
church.
invited to that party.
Oh, yeah, but well, your costumes, girl. What would you dress as?
Last year I went with two of my friends as the three blind mice.
Oh, that's cute.
It was really
Yeah, that was weird.
a bit weird.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, we went out.
They all had matching inflatable canes, and I had no idea what the fuck they were.
Yeah,
They just
yeah.
looked like they were holding like balloons, waving around.
Big dildos.
I went as a ghost once, but the bedsheet kind of went like kind of conical at the top, so it more looked like I was going as a member of the Ku Klux Klan.
Actually, I had a Jar Jar Binks mask when I was younger.
What the fuck?
Maybe like a year after the Phantom Menace came out. Sometimes
I like to start
whip
them all
it out.
that year.
I like to whip it out in the bedroom to surprise people.
Nice.
You know.
Have you ever?
You were a real Phantom Menace.
Have you
There was
ever-
a guy that I was actually friends with when I was younger.
It was Jar Jar Binks.
No, sorry, no, just about whipping out masks in the bedroom. A girl that he used to hang out with, she used to make him wear a wolf mask when they were fucking, and she made him break into a church once, and they fucked on the altar in their wolf masks.
That's
But like,
hardcore.
not like a wolf mask. Like they had like furry heads.
Are girls more likely to go in costumes that make no fucking sense?
Yeah.
What do you mean make no fucking sense?
Well, there was another year where Leanne went as space and just covered herself in glitter.
I'm going in space itself.
I think the best costume I ever did was Bruce Wayne when I was hosting that first Halloween party that year. I wore my Deb suit, but underneath the Deb suit the whole time I had a Batman suit.
That sounds ridiculously
Halfway through the party I took off my suit and pulled up like the mask and let the cape out, and I was like, Batman.
Yeah, it was as bad as.
It was
amazing.
It was
as
really
amazing
terrible,
as-
but Killian clearly enjoyed his time.
And like everyone was like, why are you just wearing a suit? And I was like, I'm Bruce Wayne.
That was a funny
Okay.
party because we were both 17.
That was the
It
first time I
party,
joined, I think.
and we had to get beer into Killian's house.
Yeah, yeah,
I
that was
mean,
really-
Killian was drinking anyway. Like from he was 16 with his parents. Like there wasn't like crazy for him to drink. But we got another guy from college.
Yeah, we actually got our 18-year-old friend. I think he was actually 19 at the time. Charlie's
Whoa.
a few years older.
We bought like 2 crates or something, or bottles, and put them in bags.
Those are the days people used to buy other people drink.
Yeah.
when they were
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
to your
So
party.
So then, like,
Charlie
we got-
bought us 2 crates. We carried them home, and like, on the road to my house, we stopped just on the side of the road and like opened up the boxes and stuffed all the bottles into our bags, like our college bags or whatever,
Yeah.
and then walked home just like clink 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 like the loudest bags, and like my bag was like out to here. It was actually the one I brought with me, the leather one there, and like went into my house, and my parents were like, oh hey, what's up? And I was like, oh, Luke and Charlie are just over, we're just gonna go up to my room now for a minute. And they were like, okay, and we're just up the stairs like clink clink clink. And then my attic is converted, my bedroom's in the attic, but like there's like 2 doors at the side like that lead into the attic sort of part, like the eaves
Yeah.
sort of thing. We opened up the doors and we're just like a 3-man line just funneling bottles into the attic part and onto a wooden floor. And then when I came downstairs, my parents were like, what the fuck's all that banging in the attic? And I was like, what? And they were like, you were hiding bottles up there, like we fucking saw you walking in. And we were like, damn it. And then they were like, We would have just bought you beer for your party, man. Like, you didn't have to sneak it in. In fact, they had bought beer for the party.
We just wanted more.
More beer.
Yeah. I didn't know that they bought
Yeah,
beer.
we got like 40 bottles and a bottle of tequila, I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
You know,
Jesus.
to this day, there
Nice.
is still a bottle of Bulmers in my attic from that party. Because we bought cider as well. Because we were like, not
Yeah,
everyone's going to like beer.
Yeah.
You guys were so nice. Like now, if I did a party now, we just like bring your own shit.
Yeah. Well, this was kind of the
This is
first
fun.
one.
Yeah.
I've never had
Bruce
a party
Wayne
where we
treats his
had
guests right.
the alcohol for people. Except I always give my boy Patrick some of my drink because he's my boo. Here, let me lay it down. Right? So, I love Halloween. Don't like dressing up.
Let's not go crazy
Don't like dressing up.
on this Halloween
No.
podcast.
Sure you do.
I don't like having paint on my face. I was a tiger once.
You got too convinced you were a tiger. Took you a few weeks to get out of character.
They couldn't find me.
I ate 3 children.
Hey, Elna, you alright?
What kind of tigers you know?
Yeah. Okay, this is out of batteries.
Have
It's
you been
over.
Oh,
quiet?
thank God. Alright, guys. Now the real podcast. Continue on.
I actually don't I don't remember
That was on
any
for
of
the past 10
the
minutes.
costumes.
So, you don't like dressing up?
No, not really. Kate made me dress up as a Slinky dog.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, from Toy Story. So like she was the front, I was the butt. I had a tail. But you know what? It lasted about 10 minutes when we got there, and then I just kind of put everything on her, and she was her own butt. I like seeing other people's costumes, but you know what? I just find like there's a lot of clever costumes, but then a lot of the time, a lot of costumes are just, I'm gonna say it, look, don't at me. They're just a bit too revealing. It's just an excuse to wear very, very little. Which, I mean, if that's what you're into, go for it. But it's not as interesting to look at.
I once won a Halloween costume party.
Yeah.
Won the prize for best costume.
What did you wear?
You know what my costume was?
Oh,
Like?
yeah.
I attended the Halloween costume as a duck.
Oh, nice.
But I had planned to go for a duck as like 2 weeks. But of course, the night of the party, I still hadn't made my costume. I had no idea what I was going to do. So I was rummaging around my house, seeing if I could get anything that would look remotely like a duck. And I found 2 yellow hats. So I got the first yellow hat, and I stuck 2 eyes on it. Then went on the top of my head, so that as a hat. Then I got the other yellow cap, and I cut out the middle part of it, turned it upside down, and that went on my mouth.
Oh, yeah.
And it looked like I had a little bill when the 2 peaks of the caps were together.
Yeah.
And I was able to move the bottom part of the cap with my chin, so it looked like it was a duck laughing.
Oh, wow. Did it work well?
It was really funny.
How long did it work?
Oh, look great. But I was also trying to shift him at the time, so I thought everything he did was great.
But look what
Luke
happened.
looks like he wants to
Uh-huh.
kill himself. Maybe we should let him.
All right, so
So, Luke, you look like you want to kill yourself now, but did you want to kill yourself that day?
what do you actually know about where Halloween comes from, first of all?
It's derived from an old pagan holiday translated into a Christian one, the old classic.
And it was when the veil between spirits and people was at its thinnest.
Yeah.
You've got, I think it's now the Christian holiday is called All Hallows
And
Eve.
they used to have
Yeah.
bonfires to ward off bad spirits.
Yeah.
And they used to leave out things such as nuts as food for the spirits.
It's very well known that spirits love these nuts.
These nuts.
Do you know what you need to do? You need to stop being a little fucking bitch. That's what
I
you
need to
need
stop
to
being
do.
a bitch.
Yeah, you
Means I don't
do.
like dressing up.
Sorry, I'm not
You ready?
kinky.
Look, you just put it on a big plastic bag and you're a ghost.
Plastic bag.
Bin bag.
Man,
Those are black.
Halloween down in Ballymun is lit.
What do you got against black people on it?
Can there not be black ghosts on it? What? Are you saying that when
Blackface
black people die, they become white ghosts too?
We got a fact check.
Can we get a fact check on black ghosts?
Well, if you watch Ghostbusters, I don't see any black ghosts in that. They're all like green and orange.
But I
and
mean,
shit.
Ghostbusters full stop. Other than that one black dude is pretty much whitewashed.
Oh man, like I remember, I think it was on Cinemassacre. Did you ever watch that guy? He does like old horror movies and shit. He did an episode years ago about Ghostbusters and it always stuck with me. But you know, like TVs used to be 4:3 aspect ratio,
Yeah.
and they'd like crop in, and like it was called pan and scan, where they'd make it like a 4:3 aspect ratio, and they'd actually move the frame to like show different parts of the movie. But for the entirety of Ghostbusters, they don't show I think it's Ernie Hudson plays the black Ghostbuster in that movie. He's not in the movie. Like at the end of the movie, they're going up to fight Gozer, and like the four of them are lined up after defeating the Marshmallow Man, and they're like, the crossing the stream scene, and it's like the four of them on the screen, but because it's the 4:3 aspect ratio, they've slid it over and just cut the black Ghostbuster out, so it's just the three white ones. It's terrible. So if you were watching Ghostbusters on TV, like in the 90s or the 80s or whatever,
You didn't know
there was
that guy
4
was in the film.
Ghostbusters.
You were racist.
At least saying that it appeared in that new Ghostbuster movie. Right?
I haven't seen it actually.
It's one of those films that I specifically avoid because I know I'll hate it and I'll probably
Seamus
feel
hates
bad.
women.
I hate films that are remade for the purpose of gender swaps.
Think of remakes, sequels, prequels. Like, make something great.
Luke's sick of life.
Name a remake done for the purpose of swapping the male characters with women characters that has been done well.
Michelle Collins, a classic.
I would have gone for Michaela Collins.
Very respectful of Irish history. All right, I can't think of a gender swap film that. Oh, because there aren't that many, are there?
And because they're all terrible. The new Oceans film looks terrible.
But like
Ghostbusters, terrible.
I actually love all 3 of the Oceans movies, but it was the same director who did those 3, and it's got a good cast. I don't know how it turned out so bad, It's apparently bad. I haven't seen it. Well, let's talk about the original gender swapped sequel, Halloween. So anyway, so Halloween, it's known as Samhain or Iha Hauna over here. Occasionally, that's Night of Samhain. So the Celts, previous occupiers of this island, originated in the Alps or around Central Europe.
The OG colonizer.
The OG. They did. They actually, and it's actually not known, right? So they at some point, because there's an ancient Irish that's very little is known about, like the Neolithic sort of Stone Age period. They built like Newgrange and all those tombs, the passage tombs and all those things, like extraordinary structures, like older than Stonehenge and the Great Pyramid of Giza, but way more complex than those structures. Very little's known about them.
Smart bunch of cunts.
Smart cunts, nothing's known about them.
It was me.
It was you.
Yeah.
You built Newgrange.
Yeah.
Oh man, how? How did you do it?
I just,
What the fuck, man? It's crazy.
Bricks.
Just
bricks.
dabbling in some brick building.
I built the thing, and then on that day of the year, it's like, oh man, the light's coming in. It's like, blast. Didn't even mean for that to happen.
In my opinion, I'm not just saying this because you're here, but I always preferred Newgrange to Stonehenge.
It means a lot, man.
No problem.
How'd you know how to do it? Just watch a few YouTube tutorials or something?
I heard you just looked at the sun for 10 years straight and then realised that it always shone in one direction on the same day every year. But like, how the fuck did
just ask Johnny Burndice over there.
How would they figure something like that out unless it was like their dad telling their child, trust me, tomorrow the sun is going to be pointing right fucking that way. You think I'm nuts, but just wait. And then the next day comes around and they're like...
They had a lot of land to use. Like, I can imagine that they had like a big old fucking tree.
Yeah,
and they just marked out
just scratching it. Like,
every single year. Like, it's like, look at this massive land space that we have to use for our experiments.
They didn't have any kind of writing or anything, so it's like, how many days have passed since we marked the tree? Oh, I think it was...
17 dashes.
I think it was 52. It could have been 50. But we're going to have to wait for another year and start again.
They had a couple thousand years to sort it out.
True.
Unless you believe the Bible.
I counted it in my head.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't write it.
By the second?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
what?
just sat there.
What the fuck?
People fed me.
You never know. Maybe they built Newgrange around this. Like, they started with the sun thing and then they built everything around that rather than building it to work with
They
that.
just had a kid sitting in the middle of Stonehenge or of Newgrange just going, can you still see it? He's like, yeah.
It's like, hey, I'm gonna put this hole in front of your face. If the sun shines directly into your eyes, just shout. And then a year later, he's like, oh yeah, it's shining into my face now.
There it is. Yeah.
Start building, boys. Bring it in.
There's obviously fucking aliens.
Well, obviously. But how did the aliens figure it out 2,000 years ago with their technology? Shit.
Other aliens.
Oh, more advanced aliens help those aliens. So here, look. The Celts. They're thought to have originated somewhere in Central Europe, somewhere around the Alps. And, like, there's no real, like, one people, like the way the Roman Empire or the Greeks would be.
Right.
But it's
no
just,
unifying language or anything.
Yeah, no unifying language. Or they're basically defined by shared customs and beliefs and stuff that were shared across the region.
Right.
And the one thing they did have in common was the production of iron. So when they arrived at Ireland, we were like in the Bronze Age, and the Celts took over pretty quickly.
took over because they had iron swords.
It's not known if it was by conquest or by peaceful integration.
They're just being lads.
Could have been a bit of both.
Or maybe they were just really rich because they had iron.
But so
trade.
those ancient Irish I was talking about, well, we don't know a massive amount of those. The Celts did take on some things from those guys. So like the modern Irish language is derived from the Celtic language, which shares some similarities with the ancient Irish language that they would have
My
picked
name
up.
comes from Old Irish.
Really?
Yeah.
From like
How's that?
old Irish.
Yeah.
Really,
What-
James Earl Jones.
It's actually...
no, maybe she means Darth Vader.
Oh, that makes sense. Sure, if you look at
Sick of this
Newgrange from
podcast.
a satellite image, it's shaped like Darth Vader's helmet. The sun shines through on the day Revenge of the Sith was released, and Anakin got burned and that lava.
Anyway.
She's
You
out.
can't put a protest during the
What?
podcast on it. You can't go into protest mode now.
What's your name? What's your name?
Oh, no.
Yeah, what's it mean?
It's Old Irish for alling.
For alling? What's that mean?
This means I'm nice.
Means you're nice.
Well, the Celts weren't the most intelligent race to ever grace this earth.
You guys are so mean.
Yeah, so the Celts had like a paganistic religion with druids being their like
Priests.
or priests, yeah, and polytheistic, so they worship many gods.
There's a goddess in Celt religion, and her name's Epona. Epona? But she's a goddess of just horses.
Oh,
That's nice.
And the horse in The Legend of Zelda is called
Epona.
Epona.
oh wow. As I was saying earlier, contrasting to what we do today, the Celtic day began at midnight instead of
I
at.
didn't know what time it was.
Well, one person would
Our
just
day
stay.
starts at midnight.
One person stayed awake all day and all night and just.
There was
counted.
some lad, and he was sitting in the middle of the circle, and he'd go, "Yep."
That's it now.
That sounds about right. Lads, he's like, wake up. The day just started, and they're like, class. And they just go back to sleep, and he stays awake.
What do you mean their day started at midnight? Our day starts at midnight.
What?
Doesn't our day start at like 12 a.m. not 12 p. or 12 p.m. I mean, in the morning time.
No.
What?
No.
What?
No,
Wait,
it
hang on.
doesn't.
Oh yeah, 0 is at midnight.
What the fuck?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I hadn't really thought
Have you
about it.
ever been like,
Alive.
yeah, have you ever gone to an appointment?
So just like us, the Celtic day started at midnight.
Yeah.
You know what? You're
The work ends on Friday, but
you're
Saturday now,
actually
boys.
you're going at me, but I copied this like from like an article I read, and it was like the Celtic year started on the 1st of November, the start of winter, because their day started at midnight instead of the start of the day, and I just copied that down. But now that you mention it, that makes no fucking sense, because the day has always started at midnight.
Are you sure you didn't take it down wrong?
No,
And it wasn't midday?
That's impossible.
Because that would make way more sense.
That's
because it'd be way
impossible.
easier to tell when midday was than it would be to tell when midnight was.
That's
'Cause you
true,
could
because
look
the
at
sun is the highest,
sun
right?
and say it's the highest point in the sky, it's midday.
Yeah, that makes a lot of
See,
sense.
some guy staring at the sun. There it is now.
It's still going up. It's
Do you
coming
think
down.
they had alternatives to sunglasses? Could they like get like, I don't know, some sort of see-through leaf and look at the sun?
A see-through leaf. A
You don't know how sunglasses
through
work.
leaf. Two lads with just two leaves stuck to his eyes.
It's like
Completely wrong.
it's like I was gonna plant these seeds, but I don't know the time of the year. And it's like, you must consult the almighty timekeepers, and they go, just two guys with leaves taped to their faces, like, yeah, you're good, man. The sun's
They
pretty
look
high.
like they're like perpetually at a spa, you know, with cucumbers on their eyes.
Can you not see through leaves?
No.
Should we start building New Grange? Yeah. Yeah, man.
Go on, go
So
for it.
look, the festival of Samhain marked the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter, which was the beginning of the Celtic year. So this is like their New Year festival, and it's the biggest of their 4 yearly festivals. Now, just like the Celts took certain things from the ancient Irish, such as aspects of their language and things, the festival drew inspiration from the ancient Irish traditions. And many of the Neolithic tombs, like not Newgrange, but many other Neolithic tombs align with the day of Samhain, right? So the sun shines through the tombs on the night of Halloween. Lots of hills and mounds that date back to Neolithic Ireland.
Hills.
Hills. You know,
mounds.
they build like, you got the odd mound in there. there's evidence of bonfires being lit on Samhain in ancient Ireland. And
The beacons are lit.
they are pretty lit. And the reason they lit these bonfires was Whopper sesh. They did have a bit of a sesh, but it was also...
Maybe they were just like old festivals, you know, where it's just like,
Could have
we're
been,
going
yeah.
to Glastonbury. It's like, no,
We're going to
we're
the
going
hill.
to Newgrange.
We're going to light some
It's
bonfires.
gonna be absolutely lit.
I mean, I'm going to Glastonbury. I'm lighting so many fires.
You will get thrown out these days for doing that.
I hope
Just
you
go
die.
to the what's that big festival in the desert where they light a big fire?
Burning Man?
Yeah, Burning Man. Let's go to that if you like lighting fires.
Probably just a big drug fest.
So yeah, the reason they were lighting these bonfires, or at least the theory behind why these people were lighting these bonfires, was you know, this was the start of when days started to get shorter from Samhain onwards until the winter solstice, and the theory was that the sun was going from the above world into the other world, which is like the Celtic, not quite afterlife, but kind of like
Shadow Realm.
Shadow Realm. It's really cool. I really need to get into this, okay? But like, there's this realm called the other world that we call it now, and it's kind of like...
Sorry, when James brought up the Shadow Realm, remember we were in primary school, we had a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Back in the day.
Yeah.
Gay.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
It's time to duel.
Yeah, about 4 kids were sent to the Shadow Realm.
Oh fuck!
Yeah.
Damn. I always wondered that in the show, right? Because if you lose, you get sent to the Shadow Realm. Kids are
Not always. Only in the Shadow Realm battles.
Oh, is that what happens if you just lose
Gay.
normally? Do you just lose your deck or whatever?
I can send you to the Shadow Realm. It's homophobic remarks. So.
I couldn't get into the show, but I loved playing the game, like the cards and shit. And one of my mates had it on PlayStation 2, one of the games. I went around to his house, sometimes played it. That was pretty cool. I had a pretty good deck. Well, it wasn't great. Some kids had those shitty... some kids
No way,
had those
it was
clearly
shit.
printed out fake cards
Oh,
that they just...
Exodius.
Yeah,
Those little
Exodia.
bitches.
Exodia, like, oh, I've got the 5 pieces of Exodia, and it's like, that's a black and white printed out picture you've cut out with a scissors and sellotape.
Show me the foil.
Yeah, so like basically the sun was going down into this other world, and they lit the bonfires to give the sun power to help it on its way through the dark and come back up during spring next year, kind of thing.
Kind of like the little Twitch chat when you're like, I'm sending you my energy.
It's like that scene in Harry Potter where they all light their wands and then Dumbledore comes back to life. Or at least that's what my parents told me happened, because they'd always cut the movie off at that part when they all lit their wands
That
up.
movie came out like 3 years ago.
Yeah. I never liked that scene. When I saw it in the cinema, I was like, what the fuck are they all doing? Because none of them were like,
They were trying to get rid of the
a
dark
dead
mark.
body splattered all over the ground. They're just like, oh, okay, I guess I better light my wand. Like, nobody
They were
reacts.
trying to get rid of the dark mark.
Oh yeah, they did get rid of the dark mark.
Darky Mark Wahlberg. You wouldn't believe it.
So this other world, it's
Moving on.
the people of the other world did live in Ireland. They were known as the Tuatha De Danann, I think. And
They were the magic people.
the Celts see them as sort of godlike figures, but Christians, when they came in, because the Celts never kept a written accord of history, and our Irish history only started to be written down when Christian monks would come over, and they tweaked certain aspects to fit with Christianity. So our Lord of the Dead, who I was originally going to include in this episode, but I think he kind of has enough about him to do his own episode, called Dawn, was
Like Donald?
a,
Like the
a
Dawn?
Milesian who invaded the Tuatha De Danann before the
Ignore it
Celts
again.
existed.
That was a great joke.
I'm sorry, I'm a terrible host.
Let the interruptions flow.
So the Christians wrote about that story saying that the Milesians were like
Like the Donalds.
followers of
Nice one,
Moses.
Luke.
Thanks, guys.
They called the Tuatha De Danann conjurers and magicians and stuff, which is meant to be like evil in Christianity, like people who can do magic or devil
So magic is all black magic.
Yeah, whereas the Celts were all about magic, and they saw these Tuatha De Danann as their gods kind of thing, and they believed that they are descended from the Milesians, who eventually conquered the Tuatha De Danann and sent them to the other world. And now the only access to the other world in Ireland is through these sea. Is that how you say it? Just sea? S-I-F-A-D-H-E?
Sea.
Sea.
Yeah.
So sea are basically these mounds that you'd find dotted around Ireland, and they're believed to have like a certain mystical power about them, and they're the gateways to the other world. And so the Tuatha De Danann who live in the other world are now called the ASC, the people of the sea, these mounds. And one type of ASC is the Banshee. So some people say like sea, she, Banshee is like the woman, she is like...
Ah, okay.
And because occasionally these otherworld people, these she or sea, can come through the mounds, and there's loads of different types. You got the Banshee, you got the doppelganger, the ones that like copy what your baby looks like and steal your babies and take them to the mounds.
Yeah.
I've always thought that somebody should do like a Witcher style game, but with the Irish. Irish folklore.
Yeah, Irish.
Is there a game called folklore?
It's Polish folklore, isn't it? Witcher?
Yeah, that's true.
Or is it? Where's
No,
CD Projekt Red?
It's Polish, yeah, it's definitely Polish.
Polish, yeah. So it's Polish folklore in The Witcher?
But it's very much Western fantasy. They've got dwarves and elves and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but all the creatures, the creatures in The Witcher are all Polish. And I would have thought it'd be a really cool game to have all the Irish creatures.
The ASC, they're able to come to our mortal world through these gateways, these mounds called sea. As you said earlier on, the barrier between the two realities becomes thinnest on the eve of Samhain every year because the sun is weakening, kind of thing.
So is the sun a source of power then?
Like the reason they lit these bonfires was to give the sun more power for the next year when it would come back up again.
Right.
And it was also because
So recharging the old battery in the sky.
these spirits and sea and all these things that would rise up don't like light or fire very much. So the bonfires were also to sort of ward off spirits and that sort of thing. It's all kind of, because these ASC are coming up out of these mounds, but it also says like spirits are coming up. Like, are they different?
Well, spirits of the dead aren't the same as the...
These are like people who were around since before humans inhabited Ireland.
Right.
These are like mythological inhabitants of Ireland who have been banished to the other world by humans.
So every Halloween, these lads are coming out of the ground.
Yeah, but they can take the form of humans, and that's where the tradition of they'd wear masks to confuse them. Alright, so not only are these ancient Irish Tuatha De Danann people coming up out of the ground to walk amongst us for this one night, but there's also spirits of dead people, and the masks are not only so that the doppelganger ASC things can't take the form of humans, but also so that vengeful spirits who you might have wronged throughout your life can't come back and take revenge on you because you're wearing a mask and they can't find you.
So if I'm a guilty feeling Celt man, I'm
You'll wear
getting
a
pretty
mask.
close to that fire.
You've decapitated a few rival tribes there.
Few vengeful headless spirits
Yeah.
coming after me.
Well, just look for the ones that don't have heads and you'll be grand. Stay clear of those ones.
That's why I always arm myself on Halloween with an AK-47.
Does that work against ghosts?
I dipped the bullets in holy water.
Ah, there you go. They didn't. Jesus wasn't born yet, Luke. There is no holy water.
What?
I'd say the best thing to fight against these evil spirits is a bit of Christianity, am I right?
Damn straight.
I was going to say...
St.
I was
Patrick.
going to say a harpoon, maybe.
A harpoon.
Yes, only one thing against the bacteria. A harpoon.
So yeah, a lot of feasts were held, public feasts, as well as,
Wait, sideline. Has anyone ever shot a harpoon?
No.
So a lot of feasts were held inside of homes and public feasts and everything as well. Food such as Colcannon was left at sites of particular spiritual activity, such as hawthorn and whitethorn bushes, where spirits were known to congregate. So this article I was reading was like, Colcannon was left, but then I was like,
This is what
I was like,
cabbage and
cabbage
ham.
and potato.
It's mashed potato with cabbage in it. It's
But
just fucking
potatoes
delicious.
weren't introduced until centuries later.
Oh, what the fuck?
Because
are you talking
potatoes are
about
from South
Colcannon?
America, right?
Yeah.
So then I was like,
I thought it was sweet potatoes.
is that a different thing completely to potatoes?
Are you?
You
the
saying we had
veggie boy?
sweet
What do you mean?
potatoes
Is that completely
in
different?
Ireland before we had potatoes?
No, I'm saying sweet potatoes.
Yes, Killian.
I thought maybe sweet potatoes.
Are you
came
trying
from
to say that
Americas.
as a vegetarian and as the author
I know what
of
this
this episode of the podcast,
That you
I
should know the difference between a potato and a sweet potato.
You're insane.
Yeah. They look completely different and they taste different.
Can we get a potato check? I don't like sweet potatoes.
I love sweet potatoes.
I like them.
If you ever have shepherd's pie, you know,
Don't like
it's traditional to have like a layer of potato on top. Try sweet potato next time.
No, I won't because it's shit.
It makes it a million
Seamus
times
on
better.
this one. We should get the person named fucking Seamus on potato.
On potato matters.
Potato related issues.
Well,
I feel like I'm an expert.
all I was saying, the same as sold potatoes for 50 cents a spud. That's fucking highway robbery.
Like,
So
right
that
over
is.
that he ate a potato raw.
I'd be pretty
That's
confident
true.
in saying that I've eaten more potatoes than everybody else in this room combined.
I'm a vegetarian. I only eat potatoes.
No, I've definitely
You
eaten
didn't
more
know
potatoes.
me for the last like fucking 20 years of my life. You don't
I've-
fucking know me.
But that's why I said I'd be pretty confident, not 100% sure.
Not 100%.
Yeah, I mean, you
That's
have
good.
something in my wardrobe in my room. It's full of potatoes.
But are you eating
I've been
them?
in his room. It's not.
Full of potatoes.
It's full of dirty laundry. He's lying.
You look under the laundry. It's potatoes.
I'm gonna give the people of this who wrote this article the benefit of the doubt and say that whoever wrote this article was like, oh, what food did they leave? I'll just Google Irish food. Oh, Kilcannon. That was it. They left Kilcannon there.
Where are we at?
I was just talking about bonfires. So people lit bonfires and they made like loads of ruckus and noise to deter evil
Is that
spirits.
why we had to do fireworks then, I guess?
Possibly.
At Halloween.
Yeah. I mean, fireworks are like a Chinese thing, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that's part of one of their harvest festivals
Yeah.
to use fireworks. So yeah, the biggest like sesh was at the Hill of Tara, where the Great Fire Festival was
The High
held.
King of Tara.
Yeah, and
Yeah, his nipples so
the
big.
biggest
What?
Please elaborate.
Irish Kings, as a show of
Hashtag
power, have
confirm.
like women suck on their nipples. So when you defeat someone in a battle and you don't like kill them, you chop the nipples off.
What the fuck?
Shit.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I might need a fact check on that, but that's what I heard.
All right, it's true. It's 100% true.
Which is why I've got 16 nipples.
He has
And
a belt
only,
made out of nipples.
Only 12 of those are from enemies. He was born with 4 nipples. So yeah. So
He's a
the
witch.
biggest sesh and the biggest bonfire was at the Hill of Tara with the Great Fire Festival, and the mound of hostages on the Hill of Tara was built around 5,000 years ago, so even before the Celts. So this is ancient Irish time. But that's aligned with the rising sun on the morning of
Hostages
Samhain.
is a French word, so I'm very interested to know what it's actually called.
Interesting. I'll look into it.
Because I assume the Celts didn't name it hostages.
Yeah. That kind of covers the ancient festival of Samhain, and you can already see like a lot of modern Halloween in that. You got the masks, you got the bonfires, you have the actual date of being like...
Making noise.
Is there a
Make
chance
noise.
that someone back then maybe had a Jar Jar Binks mask as well?
Well, look, I mean, think of it, right?
Hmm.
Jar Jar Binks isn't that dissimilar from a human. He's got 2 eyes, he's got a mouth, he's got a nose, he just has
Got
really
ears.
long floppy
Do you
ears.
think someone's like, Misa like fire? You know, that's around.
I'm saying
We're not ruling it out.
I'm saying eventually someone would make a mask that would look like Jar Jar Binks just through chance, right? They'll be like, oh, well, that's some long ears to my mask. You got
Someone
it.
puts on a Jamaican accent.
And some of them are making Jamaican accents. I'm saying over a couple of thousand years,
I mean,
someone's going to
we're
make a
changing
Jar
this,
Jar
I'm not ruling
mask.
this out, but can we just say it's
Definitely,
confirmed?
100% somebody made a Jar Jar mask.
That's what I want to hear. What's your opinion on Jar Jar Binks?
Is that the racist
Yeah.
one?
Very, very racist, yeah.
Look, it was a different time.
That's all the similarities Samhain shares with modern Halloween. But the other half of the story, the other side of the coin, is this Christian holiday called All Saints' Day or All Hallows' Day. So Christian missionaries arrived in Ireland around 300 or 400 AD. The missionaries aided in the transition from the old pagan beliefs that the Celts held to the new Christian beliefs and traditions by incorporating many of the pagan traditions into the established Christian beliefs and traditions themselves.
Classic Christianity.
I'm writing an essay on Irish
Oh my
links
god.
between sexuality and spirituality, and the way that in ancient Irish society, sexuality and spirituality were intrinsically linked. However, with the introduction of Christianity, it was introduced that you couldn't be spiritual and sexual at the same time. So if you were in any way sexual, you were just incapable of
And that's
spiritual enlightenment.
why we should all convert to Protestantism, because you're allowed to bang and be a priest.
I think they don't like it either.
Oh, really?
So can you tell me if I become a pagan, I'll get me whole?
You'll get whole. Yeah.
Not by a woman, though.
You need to stop saying "get my hole."
Conveniently, Christianity also had a festival that landed around the same time of year. It's called All Saints' Day, which was traditionally celebrated on November 1st, which was the day of Samhain, whereas the Celtic festival happened on the eve before. It was followed by All Souls' Day on November 2nd.
Well, they still do in the
They do a
masses
little
for
bit of
them. The
mass.
Feast of All Souls, the Feast of All Saints.
So they do still do All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Cool.
Those holidays are still celebrated by the Catholic Church.
This holiday originates from like the very earliest days of Christianity in Rome. It was originally to celebrate martyrs killed by the Romans in like real early Christianity, who a lot of those were made saints as well. So it became All Saints' Day. So we've got the two main components of modern Halloween, the Irish Festival of Samhain and the Christian All Saints' Day. Throughout the 1800s, particularly during this little event that happened there where we ran out of potatoes for a couple of years, called the Easter Rising. A lot of Irish travelled to America and they brought their customs with them, amalgamated customs of, because they were all madly Catholic and also still celebrating ancient Irish traditions such as Samhain, brought all these customs with them to America. And America also had loads of regional harvest festivals throughout the country that had their own traditions, such as the carving of pumpkins, which is where that comes from in Halloween. That's purely an American thing. Although I did come across some sources that said that the Irish would carve like other vegetables like turnips and stuff into faces, so maybe that sort of combined with the American tradition of carving pumpkins to form the sort of jack-o'-lantern tradition that we have now. The pumpkin carving was all American, but the stuff about bonfires and wearing masks and having feasts and laying out food for spirits and stuff, that came from Ireland.
What about all this stuff about like witches and stuff? Like surely that comes from America, like Salem and all the witch burnings and all that.
During the old Celtic tradition of Samhain, prophecies and incantations and stuff from the Druids would become more potent and more powerful on the eve of Samhain because, you know, energy was rampant coming out of these sea and mounds from the other world all over the place. So the whole thing of, and like the Christians would call that witchcraft, obviously, when they were the big boys in Ireland there, they call all those sort of traditions witchcraft. So, I mean, maybe since the old Druid spells and shit would become more potent on this day, maybe the Christians associated Halloween with more witchcraft sort of stuff. The whole thing about handing out sweets comes from this English tradition, this medieval English tradition called guising, right? So these guys called guisers, they would walk around medieval England from parish to parish. And
Bunch of geezers.
A bunch of geezers. They were also called soldiers. Just a bunch of guys. They're just guying around.
Two guys chilling in a hot tub.
They're also called soldiers.
5 feet apart because they're not gay.
God. These geysers or soldiers would walk around. They'd wear all black and they'd say prayers for souls, and people would gift them soul cakes. So basically people would bake these cakes. These soldiers would come around and be like, "Oh, a cake for a prayer, governor." And then they'd give them a cake, and then those geezers they'd pray for you.
Nice.
That's where the whole trick-or-treating thing comes in.
No, like, what about modern Halloween? Where is this, like, where it is, so the gift giving, like the sweet giving tradition comes from
This
these lads
old
with the
English,
cakes.
yeah.
What about dressing up
Well,
in
that's,
costumes?
Oh,
Are we attributing that purely to the Irish mask
well, I
wearing?
guess you could also say that it's to do with those geysers as well, because they dress up in black clothes while they were out
Right.
doing their praying.
Is there a
But
reason for why you would dress up as something scary?
specifically scary, I can't really say, no. I mean, the masks were meant to make you not look like a human, right? They were meant to disguise you from shapeshifters who were taking the form of humans, trying to mingle in with the crowd kind of thing.
Do you think modern Halloween costumes are kind of more of a sign of just pop culture than
Oh,
actual
definitely, yeah.
tradition? But we've still got a lot of classics.
Like
I don't
your
know, like
ghosts and the
witches
witch,
and
yeah.
ghosts and vampires and werewolves. But is that just more coming from Victorian fiction than it is tradition?
Yeah, I don't know when it transitioned from wearing masks to disguise your face to dressing up as like Spider-Man.
Well, I feel like once you get any kind of costumes going, it
Yeah.
kind of transitions from there. But I suppose, were those guys wearing costumes, or were they just wearing black? Like, was that just a uniform?
Well, it started out as just wearing like black. Obviously, at some point, the transition.
So you're
to wearing
saying, so
costumes.
it went to Ireland, and then it went from Irish immigrants to America, and then channeled through America, got soaked up by its culture, and then came back to Ireland.
Yeah, so like our Halloween celebration is very much Americanized,
American.
same way across the world. From what I understand, they don't really do Halloween in England. They have like their bonfire night over there.
Speaking of Halloween,
Yeah.
the new Halloween movie got 80.
Oh, yeah, it's meant to be really
currently
good,
at
yeah.
80% on Rotten Tomatoes, and BBC article here saying it's breaking US box office records for like horror movies.
Cool.
It's made $77 million in its opening weekend, which for horror movies.
Yeah, that's huge. It shouldn't have been called Halloween, right? So I mean, John Carpenter is producing it, and he's kind of saying that this is a direct sequel to the first Halloween. You can ignore Halloween 2 through like 55 or however many there were. Call it Halloween 2. Call it Halloween Laurie Strode's Revenge. Don't just call it Halloween. Because if you're going now by the official John Carpenter order of watching the movies, you should watch Halloween and then you should watch Halloween. And those are the only
Do you
two.
want to go see it?
Yeah, we should go see it.
I'm not big into horror films.
Go Saturday during the day or
They're
something.
usually shit.
Have you ever seen the original Halloween?
Yeah, of course.
No.
It's pretty good. Over like a month, me and Eva sat down. We watched Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, and then Halloween. Halloween is like easily the very best of those kind of
Actually, it's
movies.
good.
I didn't like it.
Really.
Yeah,
I liked it. I thought Friday the 13th is the weakest.
it's definitely the weakest. That movie is not good at all. Like, it's just boring.
Yeah.
And like, you know, you can say, oh, it started the whole slasher thing of like the
It's just
group.
really good.
What is?
Friday the 13th, the
No,
first one.
Jason.
But the thing is, it's not even, right? So there's this movie that came out like ages earlier, like it was called Black Christmas, and it's classic slasher setup. Got a bunch of teenagers in a house. There's a murderer in the house with a knife, and he just goes around and kills them all. So you can't even say Friday the 13th is the OG.
And Texas Chainsaw Massacre must be around that time as well.
It's not so much a slasher. I mean, how many people does he kill? Like 3?
I remember watching some documentaries about them filming the room, like them having the dinner,
Yeah.
and how hot it was. It was like over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Like when they were filming, like it was unbearable, and the smell. 'Cause a lot of the animals are real.
I heard like there's that room of bones, and it was
Yeah.
all like chicken bones and stuff, like real bones.
Yeah, that was it.
I've never seen Halloween,
Like it's
Friday the 13th,
Right.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Scream, Saw. I've never seen
All right.
anything.
Halloween is actually good. I think the first one is really good. Texas Chainsaw is also really good, I think. And
Are they actually legitimately good films?
yes, you're not going to find a movie quite like either of those, I don't think. And
Or are they just horror tropes? Because I find with horror films, they're just all they do is that they build up suspense, and then somebody dies, and that's it. Like,
Halloween is a lot like
I
that.
want a plot. I
Halloween-
want something I can actually follow instead of just people getting scared and dying.
Halloween is like probably one of the better examples of that kind of tropey slasher movie, but Texas Chainsaw is actually kind of spooky. And Saw, I think the first Saw is really good. That's nothing like, oh, people get scared and then they get stabbed and then they die. Like,
Yeah, that's all plot.
yeah, like
This
there's
is
so
the one
much
where he
drama
commands
and
them
back and
to
forth.
do terrible things.
Yeah, but in the first one, it's not these like stupid fucking puzzles. It's literally like saw off your leg. That's it. Like it's not like, oh, we need to get
Yeah,
out of this and like do
It's
this like,
two
crazy
people
shit.
chained to a wall.
It's almost more like Reservoir Dogs. It's more their interactions with each other.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's-
they do like the cuts to other shit though, so it's not really like Reservoir Dogs, but it really comes down to it's
Watching
two
all the
guys in a room.
sequels really ruins the original Saw because they try to over-explain the whole story and everything in the background and all.
Why? It's because the first one isn't ended really.
The first one has a fucking great ending, and they really ruined that in the sequels, I think.
They just want to make more money.
Yeah. Whereas if you just watch the first Saw on its own, it's a great movie.
I liked Paranormal Activity, like the first.
Yeah, that's
I liked the
pretty
first
good.
movie a lot.
That's a jump scary one.
Not really.
It's the least jump scary of the whole Paranormal.
It's by
Activity.
far the
Yeah.
least germs.
Remember the girl that went to see fucking Paranormal Activity 3 and that was
Yeah, I went to
bad.
like Paranormal
Yeah,
Activity
they're
fucking a
awful.
billion. You know, I went to see the Blair Witch Project 2 in cinema like a couple of years ago. Dog shit.
I liked the first Barry.
Yeah, it's great.
Some people really hate it.
I can see why they hate
liked it. I really liked it.
Yeah, it's
There's
good.
no jump scares. Nothing. Nothing.
It's constant just unease and just like kind of feeling kind of freaked out for like
It's great. I thought
the
the,
whole
acting
length
was
of the
really
film.
good.
Mm,
We should make our own film.
damn straight. What's like the best horror film you can think of off the top of your head?
Alien. Second.
I think the movie that made me
I'll
most
count it.
scared was The Blair Witch Project.
I can think of loads of films that I was like really scared as a kid, and
Mm.
that counts.
No, I watched The Blair Witch
I-
Project when I was like 16, and I was like the most uneasy I've
Yeah,
ever felt.
I watched it a couple of years ago as well. So
Like I remember being scared of Voldemort back when the first Harry Potter came out
yeah,
in the Forbidden Forest. That was
yeah,
shit scary.
that was pretty spooky.
First Paranormal Activity and Blair Witch Project would be my two.
I didn't watch many horror films as a kid though, so
I watched loads.
Oh, you know,
and you're fucked in the head.
my mom still
Stab it.
my mom still goes at my dad for this, but apparently when I was very young, he showed me The Shining, and I only actually rewatched.
But
But
I think you couldn't really understand what the fuck was going on in The Shining
yeah,
as a kid
but
anyway.
that scene where the two girls in the corridor, and then it cuts to them like murdered and there's blood everywhere, and then it cuts back to Danny's face, and he's like, ah,
There's your face.
and he's like trying to scream, but he can't even scream. Like that. Fucked
You
me
do
up.
seem a bit fucked up.
I am a bit fucked up. Yeah.
I remember watching It, the original, like the 1990s.
Yeah, I have that on DVD. I haven't
TV
watched it.
movie.
That was a really good film. The new one was.
Yeah, the
I
new one's
hated
really
it. I hated the new one.
It's so good.
Really
The new one
bad.
is really good.
It's really
I mean,
well
yeah,
done.
there's some parts on are a bit stupid, but like I really enjoyed it.
I actually thought it was pretty funny as well.
Yeah.
I thought one of
Acting was
the
great.
kid,
Writing was great.
the kids I thought were quite funny.
Some of the horror scenes, like the horror scenes, were probably the weakest part of the film.
Yeah.
But they weren't in it that much. Like there wasn't really that much of it. The creepy parts is good, but there are some moments I can think of now where like, oh, that was stupid. I remember watching it thinking that was stupid, but like you know the part where they're in the house, and like it's the two of them, or it's their friend breaks through the floor and breaks his arm. Eddie breaks his arm, and then the other two, Bill and the other guy, are upstairs. And they're like, they have to pick a door to go through, and it's like, it's not real. And they go through one door, and like the girl's hanging there, like cut in half, like screaming. Like they go through one door, where there's like one of the girls who went missing. They found her shoe or something, and then there's one scene where they open the door to her closet, and she's like hanging there, like cut in half, and it looks really stupid. Yeah, that's the only.
I do not remember that bit at all.
But then that scene is intermingled with the scene of when Eddie breaks his arm and it comes out of the thing and like untwists himself, which is really good. Like, that's a really good scene. And he's going for his arm. Remember, he's like,
I just the movie felt more Goonies than it did like.
The Goonies is
I
great.
love
Yeah,
the Goonies.
but I love the Goonies too, but it's not scary. Like
I thought it worked really well.
at no point was it like a threat at all, because it is like at the start of the movie it dispatches like 3 kids instantly, like it rips the fucking Georgie's arm off and just eats him like
And why are
immediately.
the other two?
Well, they come across like these posters like, oh, this kid went missing and blah blah blah. So it's killed like 3 or 4 kids at the start of the movie, and then it comes
save.
it runs into the main kid characters like 10 times, and every time whenever it comes into the room, the kids are like, oh fuck, it's a giant monster clown, and then they'll just like whack it, and it'll just be like, ow, you whacked me, and then not eat them.
Yeah,
Like-
I don't remember what you mean. Like it usually just like kind of
Like-
scares them.
Yeah, it shows up and it's like woo, blah, 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 blah,
It doesn't
and
hit
then
them.
it tries to attack them, but then something always goes wrong. Like it comes out of the projector and it's like fucking 50 feet tall, and it's like trying to eat them, and then the bloody lights like flicker and they can't see it anymore, and they're looking around, and then the lights flicker back on and it's just gone. And I'm like, why didn't you just eat him?
I thought the whole thing was that he was trying to thrive off their fear.
Why is he eating all the other kids then? Just
Because they
straight
wouldn't
up.
be afraid otherwise.
I just thought it was like by the 5th time it attacked them and they got away, I was like, I don't give a fuck anymore. Like,
There's no way
not even
you were
trying.
watching that film and said, I don't give a fuck. You were well watching that film and thinking, this is a great fucking film.
no.
You should watch it again.
How
I
the
was
fuck do you sit during a
really
Marvel film
disappointed
and think,
through the
this is
whole-
a very entertaining film, and watch it and think this is really boring?
Why do you always bring up the Marvel film?
Because
Because
you base your opinions on films off those films.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
I don't see them as like great films or anything.
You did.
did
I said the Avengers was pretty good.
Iron Man.
I like the first Iron
It
Man.
is way better than the Avengers. It is way better than the first Iron Man.
No. It's not true.
Did all see it?
I really didn't like it at all.
Yeah, honestly,
I don't
she
know.
thought it was good.
I love the Goonies and I love Stranger Things, and I think that this is a lesser knockoff of
Do
those
you like
two
Stand
things.
By Me?
Yeah.
They're all the same.
The
They're all
kids,
same.
the kids in this movie felt like they were trying to be those kids from Stand By Me and just not
Have you
succeeding.
seen the first It? Like it's probably where these movies were.
Like this
a
is
lot
the
of
original
inspiration
one of
from.
those. This is the original Goonies. Think this next It film is going to be any good?
I have really confidence in it. They've got a good cast. They've got Amy Adams.
Who knows with Amy Adams?
James McAvoy.
Actually, I just watched a movie like
Sharp Objects. Right? They have the same. Can't remember what the teenage actress is called, like the ginger girl, and then It. Like
Right.
she plays a young Amy Adams in the show as well. And they look really alike. So it's a great casting.
And
Yeah.
I just watched a movie like the day before yesterday. It's on Netflix. It's called Nocturnal Animals.
Don't care.
It's Amy Adams. It's pretty spooky. It's kind of a thriller. It's got Jake Gyllenhaal in it. I'd recommend it.
Never heard of it.
It's a really, really good premise. I've never seen a movie do this type of thing before. It's like, it's a story within a story. So Amy Adams spends the whole movie just in bed reading a book. And in the book, the main character is Jake Gyllenhaal. The story unfolds in the book and in her real life, and they sort of start to intertwine, and it's pretty spooky. It's kind of cool. Really, really good. Good movie. Better than It.
No.
No.
But yeah, that's the gist. Got any Halloween stories?
I lived in the back ass of nowhere, so nothing ever really happened.
I have a funny story about Halloween. Shameless, of course.
Oh yeah. Are you comfortable telling that story on the podcast?
I'm very comfortable. So we were in one of Kitty's Halloween. I think it was your second one. I think we were 18.
Can't remember what I wore to that one.
I was 18.
Oh, that was when I was Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, nice one.
And Seamus was Space Jam.
Oh, cute.
Where was Bill Murray?
So Space Jam.
So we were there at Kitty's party, drinking, boogieing, you know, the usual. And then I was like, not sure, Seamus is, like, I think he's a bit of a walk from home, like an hour. I was like, sure, just stay in mine. So then me and him stroll home. What time is it, like 1 a.m., half 1, 2, 3, who knows. So we're all pretty drunk, and for context, I just got a new computer monitor, 144 hertz, high refresh rate for the pro games. So I got back, and I'm pretty drunk. Not too bad though. I didn't realize how bad Seamus was. So we drink some water, and then we're like, oh, okay, let's go to bed. So Seamus is lying down, and I'm like, you know, I'm not tired at all. I'm gonna play a game of Counter-Strike, and I need more. So I'm playing, having a bit of fun. Then I go, yo, Seamus, have a look at my new monitor. Look how fucking smooth it is. Like, he leans up, just looks at it, and then just turns and like all over the floor. And I'm like, ah, fuck. And I think
It was too smooth.
it was way too smooth. Too smooth. So I'm like, ah, shit, what the fuck am I gonna do? Yeah, because I think this was like the first proper party. Kind of the first time I think I let one of my friends stay over after a party.
So we had to make a good impression,
So
and you were fucking it up, Seamus.
So I was like, ah, fuck, I can't, like, what am I gonna do? And so then I ran into my kitchen, got like an empty beer bottle box, and I rolled a toilet roll and came back in and started like wiping up what I could, but there's some chunks in there I couldn't get up. And I didn't want to touch it with my hand, nasty. It's like, Seamus, start scooping. So he's like, I'm sorry. Like, you know, like, it's fine, just scoop it in the box. So
Bare hands.
So he scoops it, yeah, I give him the tissue, he wipes his hands and put that in the box. So,
Ah.
and then I he gets to get a little more in the box, but that's fine. So I'm like, alright, now what am I gonna do with the box? And then so first I went to the kitchen and got another box, put that beside him. Then I took the other box and all the stick in it. I didn't want to open my front door to make too much noise, so I jumped out the window. And I wasn't really thinking properly. I could have just opened the door. But I jumped out the window with the box. And I saw like my pajama bottoms on and slippers. And then I ran like maybe 200 meters into the park with the box. Just kind of.
What's in the box?
And then just like hooked it. Like I don't know what I was thinking. It's really stupid. So then I ran back, and then there's like monitored Seamus for a while to make sure he didn't get sick in the other box, and he didn't. So as far as I know, he didn't. So I didn't have to get rid of the second box.
See, Seamus actually did, and he ran out the window and threw it into the forest as well. Threw it into the trees.
At that point, once I made one run, what was another one? You know.
Yeah, you know.
So then I put the box back and goes in.
I was just thinking there, right? So Halloween started off as like a Gaelic, you know, Celtic tradition, right? But now we celebrate the Americanized sort of version of that every year. Do you think we should take it back to basics? We all put on some masks.
Burning some hostages.
Yeah, we go burn some hostages, we throw on some masks, we go down to the local mound, we light a bonfire, we put out some Colcannon, even though it didn't exist back then, and we just have a bit of a sesh. We try to avoid getting murdered by spirits, eat some food, cast some spells, do some prophesizing, just classic druid Celtic stuff. None of this candy bollocks. I mean, maybe it's just because I'm older, but I'd much rather have some Colcannon than sweets. So yeah, there it is, Halloween. Yay. Good night. Thanks for listening to this episode of Potato Related Issues. All of our contact information's at the start of the video and in the description below. And tune in next time when we'll be discussing the murder of John Horgan. It's probably spookier than this episode was, to be honest.